Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Well, what we have here is another war starting up in Ukraine, or rather, not another war, but it seems Zelensky is really just pushing the buttons here for America and Trump in general. Because we have Zelensky running to Europe, crying to them and asking for support, and they are not. They're honestly they're just begging for the U.S. to come and help here because uh, that's what they do. Because without the Western help of Trump, they're useless, right? And then, of course, the UK is vows to deploy troops to Ukraine and what have you. This has just been a complete insane shift here. I don't know what's happening, but we're gonna go over it with you guys today. And what we'll have here as well is that we have people that are bit of a montage of people blaming Trump and saying Trump is Hitler, or not Hitler, but he is friends with Russia or whatever, because he's just not trying to side with Zelensky here. Take a look.
Trump and J.D. Vance and Putin believe that they're going to intimidate and bully and threaten President Zelensky to join the club of corrupt and unprincipled leaders. They will literally need to wait until hell freezes over twice, because this is a man who is committed to the survival of his country.
The propaganda is what's coming out of J.D. Vance's mouth, and it's Russian propaganda.
I saw the meeting as a despicable display of bullying by the president.
It was Vice President Vance, particularly, who was on the offense, who was berating President Zelensky.
It is absolutely shameful what is happening right now. The White House has become an arm of the Kremlin.
I just have never felt such shame about American policy before, and I don't know how our allies trust us after this.
Putin and his cronies are probably popping champagne bottles right now.
We have someone that is occupying the White House, and as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States.
Yeah, so again, we have people that are losing their minds, and it's just crazy that what we have here. And there's more information that I have to give you guys, as long as going hit and miss here with a little bit of what's going on. We have this here from TikTok, pretty much saying European leaders hold emergency meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky in London, which is Starmer, Zelensky, or all these other places there. The people that were there is Starmer, Zelensky, Macron, Scholz, Meloni, Tusk, Trudeau, Sanchez, Federskin, Storr, Stubb, Christensen, Chuf, Fala, Bolajon, Fidden, Vidiel, and Costa. And this is what's going on here. This is like kind of like everybody else going on. See, I know why all of a sudden they're holding an emergency meeting now. All of a sudden, like, it's really quite insane on what's going on here, because they're just now doing an emergency meeting. What shouldn't this have been done like almost immediately when the war was started? But this is not happening. Now it's happening because Trump said no to the corrupt and dictator Zelensky. And then what we have here from Eric Daltrey, it says Ukrainian President Zelensky just launched a flurry of kind words for a variety of world leaders after departing the White House. All these world leaders seem to have launched a pro-Ukraine messages at the same exact time. And you have here from Volodymyr Zelensky says, "Thank you for your support." To pretty much everybody that he's responding to. And then, of course, we have it's just quite disgusting, honestly. And this is the insanity that we have here, right, guys? So again, we're having Zelensky go out and do this, and the sanity here. And now I'm going to be laying down a bit of the floor here. So it's like, they have been, the UK has been making deals, and really good deals with the UK, with Ukraine here, where it's like $100-year deal, and it was all to benefit both UK and Ukraine. Meanwhile, the rest of these countries that are supposedly our allies, right? They're supposed to be our allies. They're not doing that, right? They're not letting the US get into the mix. So we're technically getting hosed out of the whole deal, and Zelensky wants to go out and cry and not have to pay his fair share. So without further ado, here's a clip.
first off, they've got to change the fact that on the 17th of January, the British signed an agreement with Ukraine to have exclusive rights to those deals. Kershaw, this is a battle of dueling narratives. You can go check it out. This is on the British-UK website. It talks about this 100-year Ukraine and UK signed a 100-year deal over security guarantees and economic development. So what happened is that I believe President Trump and his team found out that they were being played. So this has become a set of dueling narratives. The BBC just said today there's massive protests here. Zach Andrews just said all the European leaders are behind Zelensky. We are being played. We, the United States, are trying to be signed up to a deal that we provide security guarantees to a economic development deal that Keir Starmer has already signed them up to do. So the first thing it has to do is people have to take a step back and be honest with what's really going on. And so I think what happened here, I don't know the details, it wasn't in that meeting, but Kershaw, the president was trying to play a straight line deal to sign an agreement with them over this minimal rights deal, knowing full well that the British had already signed on this 3 days before his inauguration. So where we go from here is both sides, if this is going to work, if the Europeans really want our help, they're going to have to take a step back and start being honest with the United States about what's really going on.
And as you can see here, this is from the government of .uk, which is right here. It says UK and Ukraine sign landmark 100-year partnership to deepen security ties and strengthen partnership for future generations. So, and again, it says here, this is on January 16, 2025, just a week, just a few days before Trump got inaugurated. What is this? The UK and Ukraine will sign a historic partnership as the Prime Minister travels to the country to meet President Zelenskyy. And a treaty will bolster military collaboration on maritime security through a new framework to strengthen Baltic Sea, Black Sea, and Azov security and deter ongoing Russian aggression. We're bringing together experts who have advanced scientific and technology partnerships in areas such as healthcare and disease, agri-tech, space, and drones, and build lifelong friendships through classroom projects. New UK-built grain verification scheme will be also launched to track stolen grain from occupied Ukrainian territories. So, again, this was something released January 16th, 2025. This was just 4 days away from Trump's inauguration. This was what was signed. So they are playing the U.S. They are just straight up just hurting the U.S. in every single regard. And again, we have this here as well with the British and the UK. This is British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced the UK is preparing to put boots on the ground in Ukraine. Now Western troops will be sent into the meat grinder. This is what Trump warned us about. They're desperately trying to launch World War III. America needs to stay far away from this.
The UK is prepared to back this with boots on the ground and planes in the air. Together with others, Europe must do the heavy lifting. But to support peace in our continent and to succeed, this effort must have strong US backing.
So again, they're all like, oh, well, we need to secede, right? We need to see, we're going to join them. But by the way, in order for us to stand against Putin, we need strong U.S. backing, which means that the UK is still heavily relying on U.S. to support them through this war. And Trump is right. We do not need to do this. We do not need to go to war with Russia at all. And the UK and NATO is trying to push us into World War III with Russia, and we shouldn't be any part of this at all, period. I've been saying this before on the channel where I didn't like Zelenskyy or Ukraine because it seemed to be very corrupt. I didn't like NATO because, as we've seen before, NATO has straight up just ignored Russia's agreement to not want to encroach onto the eastern place, right? And NATO did so anyways, and now it's being led to this, and it's just not going well. And it says from Lamalel saying, just in, Zelenskyy says Lindsey Graham can move to Ukraine and gain citizenship if he wants his resignation carried to carry weight. My apologies. Reporter, Senator Lindsey Graham said that perhaps he should consider resigning. I can give him citizenship of Ukraine. He will become a citizen of our country, and then his voice will be gain weight. And I will hear him as a citizen of Ukraine on the topic who must be the president. So again, this is what it has to say, right?
Just ask, you alluded to citizens of other nations. I mean, since the incident, Senator Lindsey Graham said that perhaps you should consider resigning. Speaker Mike Johnson today said that maybe you should consider resigning. Is your attitude it's not their business?
Lindsey Graham is Lindsey Graham is a very good guy, a very nice. And speaking who must be the president and whether I shall resign, I can give him the citizenship of Ukraine. He will become the citizen of our country, and then his voice will start to gain weight, and I will hear him as a citizen of Ukraine on the topic of who must be the president. But Lindsey represents the party that fights for democratic values, and anyway, the president of Ukraine will have to be chosen not at home, at Lindsey Graham's home, but in Ukraine.
But Lindsey Graham was the king of all this, right? And then let's add this as well. This is not just that. First off, you don't have a democracy in Ukraine, because if you look at this here, you're automatically seeing that Ukraine, Zelensky, you stopped all elections last year, so nobody could be elected. So I don't know about that, where democracy or anything of that actually works in your country right now, because obviously that's not the case. So now what we have here is just this. Well, we're going to be talking about, how Trump does not want this guy anywhere near the White House or what have you until he actually apologizes. Take a look.
There's quite a disconnect happening here at the White House and with their allies in Kyiv, because I have been told by a senior official here that nothing's going to happen with this minerals deal until Zelensky goes in front of cameras and makes an explicit public apology for the way that he behaved in the Oval Office with that meeting. But Zelensky is out there now saying that he thinks he can still get this minerals deal without saying sorry.
We are not making any steps back. This is our policy, to be consistent regardless of what happened before. We are constructive. If we agree that it will be signed, from our side we are ready to sign. I honestly think the United States will be ready as well. Maybe they need time to analyze some things.
Yeah, well, good luck, because there is still a desire by Republicans in D.C. to end the war in Ukraine and to make a deal with Ukraine on the way forward. But after Friday's Oval Office dust-up, Republicans don't care if peace happens with Zelensky in charge or somebody else, although nobody is saying yet who they think a suitable Zelensky replacement could be.
Something has to change. Either he needs to come to his senses and come back to the table in gratitude, or someone else needs to lead the country to do that. I mean, it's up to the Ukrainians to figure that out. But I can tell you that we are re-exerting peace through strength.
And we're hearing now that President Trump plans to talk about the end of the war in Ukraine at some point tomorrow, one day closer to his self-imposed deadline to end the war within the first 100 days back in office. Harris?
All right, great reporting on you to get that nugget. I mean, they want an explicit apology from Zelensky. Have we seen anything to maybe point to that actually happening?
No, nothing. I've heard that Zelensky's team have been calling their counterparts here at the White House, but it just does not seem like anything is going to happen unless President Trump changes his mind and doesn't want a public apology. Nothing is going to happen. They are not going to get this deal, and they are basically going to be in the timeout chair with the way that the White House sees it until he comes up and says, I am sorry for the way that I acted.
Wow, the Ukrainian president literally taking it. Call a friend when you're losing. But this isn't a game show.
Yeah, and now what we have here is that, of course, we have war governments pledged to join UK and France in sending peacekeepers to Ukraine. So, yeah, it is not good here, right? It is not good. And then, of course, we have here, following Trump's lead, his allies criticize Ukraine's Zelenskyy and suggest he may need to resign. So, there's also other Republican leaders, etc., that are asking him to resign. Now, here's the final kicker, right? Here's the final actual kicker. What we have here is, Putin automatically just going out and being like, oh, well, that the Ukraine is very, very far away from actual peace treaty, even though Trump was announcing and ready to do a peace treaty with you, which is called the mineral deal, where you were supposed to sign, and you didn't go and do that, right? You didn't really do that. And then Trump pretty much slams him, and you're going to hear that now.
President Trump hitting back at Ukrainian President Zelenskyy just a short time ago on President Zelensky's comments in London yesterday during a briefing where he said, quote, an agreement to end the war is still very, very far away, and no one has started all these steps yet. President Trump responded to Zelenskyy by saying, quote, this is the worst statement that could have been made by Zelenskyy, and America will not put up with it for much longer. It is what I was saying. This guy doesn't want there to be peace as long as he has America's backing and Europe. In the meeting they had with Zelenskyy, stated flatly that they cannot do the job without the U.S. Probably not a great statement to have been made in terms of show of strength against Russia. What are they thinking?
Yeah. So again, we have just Zelenskyy being an idiot here. He's playing with cards that he does not have, and he's really making Trump angry, and rightfully so. He decided to criticize and threaten the U.S., and then after he does that and threatens the U.S., he goes out and try to poke jabs at the president, and joins and does other things behind our back with 100-year treaty deals and stuff like that, and wants to get all the backing from the UK. But unfortunately, that's not working out for him because it's seriously hurting Zelenskyy. So at the end of this all, we're seeing that Zelenskyy wants World War III, or at least wants to continue the war. And this is what I've been saying the longest time. Zelenskyy has not been wanting peace. Zelenskyy has been wanting to be at this war for a very long time now. And this is all due to NATO's fault and also Russia's fault because they attacked. But the crux of this onto why is onto NATO. And after that Russia attacked Ukraine, Zelenskyy is now trying to keep the fight going, even though he has no chance of winning against Ukraine. He's getting destroyed. Russia's getting at least 20% of it. So it's not good, right? And Zelenskyy wants to keep on fighting and poke jabs at the president. This is just stupid. This is dumb. I don't know what he's thinking here. And this is one of the reasons why Trump went to go talk to, or wants to talk to Russia first, or Putin first, is because Zelenskyy is probably the one, and most likely the one, that doesn't even want to consider peace in the first place. So let's keep this as we may. Insanity here, stupidity of it all, and Zelenskyy is just this frail of a man. He's disgusting, and he's trying to start World War III. All right, guys, that's the video. Like, subscribe, share, and as always, take care, my friends. See you in the next one.
Burn down the city, scream at the top of your lungs till you're dizzy. You can cancel everything and everybody in it, but it's not your